r/AskReddit. What hurts more than people think? Having a lot of friends, but never being invited over for parties or to hang out. Also, setting up a party at your house and inviting your friend group to the party and basically no one shows up. When I say, basically no one shows up, I mean, you invite a group of 20 or 30 friends over for a party and like 2 people show up. At least you find out who the 2 people are that you should be hanging out with. Happened to me at one point in a similar situation, and I'm still friends with those few that showed up and reached out when I didn't. The rest I'm no longer close with. Same here, I haven't talked to most of those people in years. Whenever I go out it's just me and my wife and that's it. I've learned to accept it and am fine with it. I don't need that kind of constant disappointment in my life, too old for that BS. A partner that loves to tell their stories, but does not want to hear yours. I can relate, it hurts so bad. It gets even more painful when you tell them and they don't want to hear that either. My wife is very defensive and does not handle being in the wrong well. Losing a pet. The number one answer right here, often very invalidated, but for a lot of people it's like losing a family member. Yep, I lost my dog a year ago after having her for 15 years. I'm a grown man and I cried quite a bit. It still hurts. I'm so sorry to hear that sad face. I lost one of my dogs almost 4 years ago and it feels like just yesterday. I think it's sticking with me extra long due to the circumstances of his passing. My condolences, and just always remember you were her everything and her life was good. 15 as a long life smiley face. Being lonely, especially when you get really excited about something and you look around your empty home and there's no one to tell. Oddly enough, I've felt more peace living, being alone than being with others. I've always felt this deep sense of disconnection ever since I was a boy. I would take mental notes of people's names, interests, comments, conversation points, etc., but yet I've never really felt like anybody has ever done the same for me. Also, it's not that I've stopped doing these things. I suppose I've just stopped having expectations of reciprocation. I suffer a bit of loneliness from time to time, but in the end I know I'll be okay. I used to catch bouts of loneliness similarly, but that's rapidly changed to a consistency. I think it's time for me to start trying again. I just be telling my cat. He always wakes up to listen to me. No human could ever. I talk to my hamsters about things. One of them, Poppy, always climbs onto my hand and sits with me while I talk. She's so sweet. She literally gave me a kiss yesterday. My cat gives me kisses on my nose when I'm sad. I love him. I saved a raccoon and it climbed the tree, and then turned around and waved at me. Cutest thing ever. Or when you get really excited about some plans you have arranged with friends and then they fall through, and you find yourself drifting about an empty home at a loose end. That's when it gets really bad. That really is a special kind of bummer. No joke, I've taken to watching reaction videos of my favorite things because it sort of fills the lonely gap. Makes me feel like I'm in a room talking about stuff I like. Sort of. The specific part that hurt me sometimes is being so excited for certain plans, which are being cancelled. And getting the stinging feeling that you were excited for plans that didn't mean the same to the others. You feel pain of not doing the exciting plans and also feel shit because you feel the only one who apparently cared that much. I'm a fairly gregarious guy. I lived for 20 plus years in the Seattle area where I had a good group of friends I saw on a regular basis for all sorts of things. We all built models and painted figures, so we had lots of things to share with each other. We ate at each other's homes, traveled together to shows, and were in general a typical set of friends geeking out over our shared hobby. Then my wife and I moved to the rural Midwest to take care of a sick elderly family member. This is where my wife comes from, so I really don't know anyone here. I'm a city mouse, not a country mouse, so I've got very little in common with most of the people here, so not a lot of common interests to form new friendships. Add to that, I'm in my 50s, so I don't have a lot of time to make those deep lasting friendships like I did when I was in my 30s. Oddly enough, the pandemic helped. My friends moved from IRL meetups to online, and I could join in again. They've kept them going as restrictions have eased, so a lot of my isolation here in the sticks is gone, but it's not something I would wish on anyone. Chronic depression. The chrony D. This is how I'm gonna say it from now on. Came here for this comment. Deep depression can physically hurt. Back spasms. They sounded almost fun until I had them and was basically crawling around my apartment for days at a time thinking maybe death wouldn't be a bad thing right about now. I was born with slight scoliosis. As I was growing up, I got a lot of back spasms. And ironically, as my body stopped growing, my back got better. They are deliberating and they lock up your body. It really sucks. Lol. How did back spasms sound almost fun? The word spasm. I figured it was like a light electrical impulse or a massaging type feeling. Like a muscle twitch, I guess. Letting go of a relationship with someone you love but you don't see working out in the future. Yep, it's a process I'm going through right now. Actually, it's not fun. Going through it right now. It's so painful and I feel so alone. I finally made the choice thinking I would have felt better eventually because then I would be true to myself. But it's not how I thought it would be. I'm just suffering and can't see a way out. In the same situation as well. We still are living together until she can find a good place. But that makes it so hard. We care deeply for each other but also recognize that we have created toxic traits in each other from our codependency. I don't feel that either of us can move forward as long as we still live together. Oh yes. BC, your head and your heart are in two directions ripping you apart. Logic tells you why it isn't going to work or the hell it'll cause you if you try to. Meanwhile, your heart is screaming BC, it can show you 100 ways in which you and this person love each other. Freaking painful. It's amazing how much physical pain this can cause. Even worse when you see it working out in the future, but that is finished because of something you can't control. As someone that's been on both sides, I can't decide which one hurt more. Recovering from the abuse of a mean-ass narcissist. Not sure the pain part, but confusion, frustration, loneliness, and OMG, I am completely clueless which direction to walk in. Besides, away from that mofo is disorientating. The only people that can relate are those who have been through it. It has been a very long road for me. I was once a confident, without arrogance, shiny happy person. Now I am terrified of failure. Don't go out much. I have a real hard time focusing. Depression, anxiety, never had issues before. Now? PFFT. I will never be the same. This I am sure of. I am a broken man. I was friends with one such person for a while. When I finally cut them loose, I had to wash out a hell of a lot of poison that she'd been pouring in my ears throughout the friendship. Both things she'd said to me about myself, and things she'd said to me about people I'd been friends with before. Fortunately, they were all understanding and sympathetic. But man, it was tough. It definitely made me empathize a lot more with people trapped in cults. Narcissistic people are good at getting you to dedicate a lot of time and energy to them, and are good at knowing which of your needs they need to fulfill to lure you in, then stopping when they have you under their spell. And when they're gone, a large part of yourself feels like it's gone. And then there's the guilt at realizing it was all fake, that you were nothing more than a plaything to them, and that people might have gotten hurt because of it. Being underweight. Even the most comfortable chair will make you feel every single bone in your body. Just lie down, bones. Stand up, bones. Ride a bike, bones. It literally hurts so bad. You might need a really soft mattress. Laying down shouldn't have to be painful. As a skinny dude, switching to a foam mattress was the best decision I ever made. Getting ghosted. Everything is going well. You meet someone, you start talking. The other person is responding and even takes the lead sometimes. You feel the chemistry. You start feeling like something positive finally happened to you, and then, wham, dead silence, nothing. You keep reaching out thinking that maybe he or she is busy, maybe sick, maybe something bad happened. You start to worry, so you write more without even realizing that you are most likely making a nuisance out of yourself. At this point, you're plain confused. What happened? Did I say something wrong? Did I do something creepy? You keep writing and or calling just to get some answers, all the while looking like a clingy creep to the person you're trying to reach. Then, if you're lucky, you will eventually get an answer, but it's not something you expected. It will probably be some kind of dismissive message, maybe, "Leave me alone, you creep," or, "Stop calling me," or, "You just can't get a hint, can you?" You are left hurt and confused and don't even have an idea what went wrong. Bonus points if ghosting happened shortly after you decided to open up emotionally. It still hurts. My theory is 99% of the time it's them going back to their ex. Migraines. Holy shit. Mother fricking migraines. All those pain reliever commercials that show people suffering from migraines have completely misrepresented how bad these fricking things can be. I suffer from them semi-regularly, and I've had a couple through the years that hospitalized me, one for several days. Oh, it's just a bad headache, you're being dramatic. Yeah, frick you. Let me take a couple whacks at your head with a flanged mace and we'll see how you feel afterwards. Seriously, they are beyond debilitating. TBH though mine ended up being a brain tumor, so if they are frequent, super bad, you should probably double check with your doctor that something else isn't going on. Been MRI'd, CAT scanned, blood draws, the works. Nothing wrong other than my brain hates me. The really shitty thing about migraines is, you don't have any surefire way to know what triggered it. And the attack can start long before you have any clue about it. You could have eaten soup with ham in it 2 days ago. Then started having very, very subtle prodrome symptoms the day after that you didn't even notice. And now you're having a migraine today. On a logical level, you just assume, maybe it was something I ate this morning. Maybe I can't eat eggs. And then you cut out eggs, and still get migraines not knowing why. Meanwhile, it never entered your mind that it could have been because you ate a fricking soup 2, maybe even 3 days ago. Even finding migraine triggers in the medical setting, it's literally a guessing game. Maybe it's chocolate, maybe it's ground meat, maybe it's turkey sausage. Mine turned out to be menstrual migraines. I was delighted to hit menopause. My friend, my hat's off to ya. They're the single largest detriment to my entire life. Broke my finger badly and it'll never straighten again. After a lifetime of migraines, the pain was completely negligible compared to migraines. Single worst pain I've ever had. And it happens often. Turns me into a shell sometimes. Even when I don't have one. Just coming down from that pain leaves me empty. Yup, I had my arm shattered, dislocated in multiple places, and the bone sticking out of my skin. I rated it a 6/10 because my migraines have made me so used to constant horrible pain. Not dissimilar. I broke my wrist really badly about 2 years ago, and had to have 4 people pull it into place before a cast was put on. I told them it was only the 3rd most painful thing that year, after a tooth that was split in half with a septic nerve exposed in a series of cluster headaches. Cluster headaches are known as suicide headaches because the pain is so bad that people have been known to kill themselves to relieve it. Chronic pain. I just don't think the human brain is able to grasp what it's like to live in constant varying levels of pain every day of your life if you haven't also experienced this long term. The last 10 years of my life, I've lost all desire to do anything. Luckily, I still like to work. It all hurts. Everything hurts. Doing nothing hurts. I'm just always in pain. I have fibromyalgia. The daily pain is ridiculous. It's worse when I sleep bad. So I have to use a sleep aid to help me sleep. I've tried various medications that did nothing. And the one that helped by making the daily pain manageable, my insurance has decided I don't need it. And are currently not authorizing it to be filled. There are days where all I do is cry from hurting. I also have fibromyalgia among other things. I'm sorry, hugs. Hey, I like you. Would you want to go on a date? Ew. Bonus points if this is high school and they intentionally say it loud enough for everyone to hear it. So now you're not only feeling the pain of rejection, but everyone is mocking you for it. I remember back in high school, I asked one of the popular girls to have a dance with me. She didn't even say no. She and her friends just laughed at me and looked away from me. I cringe so hard whenever I remember it, haha. Having big and heavy breasts. Trust me, it hurts your back like really freaking bad. Breast reduction surgery was the best choice I've ever made. I'm glad you feel better. I've always had a bigger chest even when I was a kid, and it's hell. Not only does my back hurt, but all my guy friends so far have only been friends with me because they wanted to see my body. Not fun. If I may ask, did you pay out of pocket or were you able to get your insurance to pay for it? The reason I ask is because my girlfriend is this tiny petite woman, but her breasts are crazy big. They bother her so much and her back is always hurting. She wants to pursue this, but is really concerned about the cost and rehab. Check with your insurance company. Most have a rule that if you're very short and you have breast above a certain cup size, they'll pay. They paid for me. I'm quite short and my breasts were so big that even the surgeon was a bit flabbergasted. But even if I'd had to pay myself, I can guarantee it's a 100% worth it. The rehab isn't that bad. It may look like a big, heavy surgery, but it really isn't that bad. And after the surgery I was completely pain-free. I've lost some loved ones unexpectedly and it really shocks me how much it physically hurts. Like a drill in my chest and head. I'd rather have kidney stones or tear a tendon again. If the emotional pain is big enough it actually hurts. When I caught my GF fricking my best friend I had to take a week off because I'd throw up twice a day and had a really bad headache that lasted about 2 weeks. I couldn't function as a human being anymore, glad it's over. An odd one but fat shaming. People know their weight and hear about it constantly. Weight loss for health is healthy and it's hard to do, but that doesn't mean you should despise yourself until you're thin again. Childbirth and period cramps. Came here to say the same. It's not usually taken as seriously as it needs to be because everyone has varying cramp pain levels. I've been to the hospital due to period cramps because I was puking, white as a ghost, drenched in sweat, going in and out of consciousness and barely able to move. I was in so much pain I wanted to open the car door and roll in front of an oncoming car. I went to a clinic first and the doctor said, "I'm not sure why you came here for period cramps, they did a blood panel and I can't remember if it was WBC or RBC or something else, but it was extremely high and the doctor said it skyrockets when your body is in a lot of pain." It was definitely validating. Basically, yeah, period pain can be excruciating and is often invalidated. Yeah, they've said my cramps are on par with labor contractions. As someone who has gone through labor, I would definitely say they feel the same. A kick between girls' legs. Believe me, my boxing teacher used me as an example to show everyone how to respond to an aggression, because being the only girl I was supposed to receive it better than the boys. For 20 minutes. I'd speak with a district attorney if that happened to my kid. Straight up aggravated battery. I was already 18, and that was several years ago. No hard feelings toward my instructor. I had accidentally broke his rib a few years prior. He didn't hurt me on purpose. That kind of accident happened quite often, and I don't think he realized how low my legs actually were, lol. I don't think he intended to really hurt me, just like I didn't intend to break his rib. You have made it to the end, so you should probably give this a like and consider subscribing as well. It's free, you know.